Thank you, Mr. Speaker. WikiLeaks' release of classified information has generated a lot of attention worldwide in the past few weeks. The hysterical reaction makes one wonder if this is not an example of killing the messenger for the bad news. Despite what is claimed, information so far released, though classified, has caused no known harm to any individual, but it has caused plenty of embarrassment to our government. Losing a grip on our empire is not welcomed by the neoconservatives in charge. There is now more information confirming that Saudi Arabia is a principal supporter and financier of al-Qaeda, and this should set off alarm bells since we guarantee its Sharia-run government. This emphasizes even more the fact that no al-Qaeda existed in Iraq before 9/11, and yet we went to war against Iraq based on the lie that it did. It has been charged by self-proclaimed experts that Julian Assange, the internet publisher of this information, has committed a heinous crime deserving prosecution for treason and execution or even assassination. But should we not at least ask how the U.S. government can charge an Australian citizen with treason for publishing U.S. secret information that he did not steal? And if WikiLeaks is to be prosecuted for publishing classified documents, why shouldn't the Washington Post, the New York Times, and others that have also published these documents be prosecuted? Actually, some in Congress are threatening this as well. The New York Times, as a result of a Supreme Court ruling, was not found guilty in 1971 for the publication of the Pentagon Papers. Daniel Ellsberg never served a day in prison for his role in obtaining these secret documents. The Pentagon Papers were also inserted into the congressional record by Senator Mike Gravel, with no charges being made of breaking any national security laws. Yet the release of this classified information was considered illegal by many, and those who lied us into the Vietnam War and argued for its prolongation were outraged. But the truth gained from the Pentagon Papers revealed that lies were told about the Gulf of Tonkin attack, which perpetuated a sad and tragic episode in our history. Just as with the Vietnam War, the Iraq War was based on lies. We were never threatened by weapons of mass destruction or al-Qaeda in Iraq, though the attack on Iraq was based on this false information. Any information that challenges the official propaganda for the war in the Middle East is unwelcome by the administration and supporters of these unnecessary wars. Few are interested in understanding the relationship of our foreign policy and our presence in the Middle East to the threat of terrorism. Revealing the real nature and goal of our presence in so many Muslim countries is a threat to our empire, and any revelation of this truth is highly resented by those in charge. Questions to consider. Do the American people deserve to know the truth regarding the ongoing war in Iraq, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Yemen? Number two, could a larger question be, how can an Army private gain access to so much secret information? Number three, why is the hostility mostly directed at Assange, the publisher, and not our government's failure to protect classified information? Number four, are we getting our money's worth from the $80 billion per year we spend on intelligence gathering? Number five, which has resulted in the greatest number of deaths? Lying us into war, or WikiLeaks revelations, or the release of the Pentagon Papers? If Assange can be convicted of a crime for publishing information that he did not steal, what does this say about the future of the First Amendment and the independence of the Internet? Number seven, could it be that the real reason for the near-universal attacks on WikiLeaks is more about secretly maintaining a seriously flawed foreign policy of empire than it is about national security? Number eight, is there not a huge difference between releasing secret information to help the enemy in a time of declared war, which is treason, and the releasing of information to expose our government lies that promote secret wars, death, and corruption? Number nine, was it not once considered patriotic to stand up to our government when it's wrong? Thomas Jefferson had it right when he advised, "Let the eyes of vigilance never be closed." And I yield back the balance of my time.
They have, gotten Assange, and they're going to continue his vicious treatment. Some people say that he's been tortured, and I don't think he was waterboarded, but living the way he's had to live for 6 years now, I mean, he has had a rough time, and I think he's been essentially in solitary confinement, living in the embassy. But the Ecuadorians removed his status and kicked him out of the embassy. And can you believe it? The British police were right there. They couldn't wait. As a matter of fact, they didn't wait till he walked on the street. They just marched in and made sure they got him. He has suffered a lot. I think this is a real tragedy for all journalism, which means all the people who are trying to find the news. And I think he fits into the category that we've talked about so much, and that is that truth is treason. When you have an empire, but he doesn't even technically belong to our empire. He's not a U.S. citizen, but no, he was dealing with some of our secrets, and he wasn't a journalist, they claim. The overriding concern I have on an issue like this is that governments per se, all governments are based on force. And all governments hate that force and violence, to be unchallenged. And therefore, whatever, truth tellers aren't their friends because they're always maneuvering, manipulating. And I guess there's never been a pure government, but some are less pure than others. So, but Assange was one that for various reasons, I think he was driven by journalism and modern technology, that he was going to reveal things that we thought were very important. So to me, it's good news. I sure wished we could do something to encourage it. I guess if any of our viewers or listeners have any ideas how to get the message out and they agree with us that this is a good move, we should get as many people saying they support this as we can get.
And what he said is very good. But it's really no surprise WikiLeaks is a publisher. Just because they don't put out a newspaper, actually newspapers nowadays don't put out newspapers. They publish online, which is what WikiLeaks does. They do the same things. They cultivate sources. They receive material. Some of that material is stolen material. As Giuliani pointed out, the Pentagon Papers was stolen material. But he also pointed out a lot of other things. What about the information about Abu Ghraib? That was classified material that we were not supposed to see, but in the public interest to let the American people know what was being done in their name, that people were being tortured and humiliated and murdered, who were innocent people. It was in our interest to know, just like it's in our interest to know what our government is doing in our name. And Giuliani, he did nail it. If you care about the United States, if you care about a free press, if you care about helping truth tellers, whistleblowers, and brave publishers, you've got to get involved. You've got to write to your congressman. You've got to demand that they put pressure on the State Department, on the administration, if there is an indictment, to get rid of it. President Trump has said 100 times on the campaign trail, I love WikiLeaks. I love WikiLeaks. Now that he's president, he has the power to do something.